After just 2 rounds of the 2026 Super Rugby Pacific season, former All Blacks playmaker Stephen Donald believes one storyline has already emerged as a defining subplot of the competition: the ferocious battle for midfield spots in the New Zealand National Rugby Union team. With a new international season approaching and uncertainty still surrounding the All Blacks head coaching position, the race to secure a starting center berth is intensifying. According to Donald, the quality, depth, and physicality on display in Super Rugby Pacific suggest that whoever takes charge of the national side will inherit both a luxury and a headache when it comes to midfield selection. A crowded midfield picture. New Zealand's midfield stocks are as deep as they have been in years. During the 2025 Test season alone, the All Blacks rotated through a host of high-quality options, including Jordie Barrett, Quinn, Tupaea, Anton Lienert-Brown, Billy Proctor, Timoci, Tavatavanawai, and Rieko Ioane. Each brings a distinct profile. Barrett offers size, kicking range, and composure. Tupaea brings power and leg drive. Lienert-Brown provides defensive leadership and distribution. Proctor is a smooth operator with strong game awareness. Tavatavanawai injects explosive carrying and breakdown menace. Ioane, equally capable on the wing, adds pace and attacking threat in wider channels. And that list may not even be complete. Utility back Leicester Fainga'anuku, recently returned from an 18-month stint with RC Toulon, has rejoined the Crusaders and is now set to focus primarily on midfield duties after initially featuring on the wing. The result? A selection squeeze of the highest order. Overseas sabbaticals add intrigue. While several contenders are making their case in Super Rugby Pacific, others are honing their craft abroad. Lienert-Brown is currently on sabbatical in Japan with Kobelco Kobe Steelers, while Ioane is plying his trade in Ireland with Leinster Rugby. Their absence from the early Super Rugby rounds has not diminished their credentials, but has opened the door for others to stake an immediate claim. For Stephen Donald, that internal competition is precisely what New Zealand rugby needs. Dunedin delivers a midfield showcase. Round 2 provided a vivid illustration of the midfield arms race when the Chiefs edged the Highlanders 26-23 in Dunedin. The heart of that contest was a thunderous head-to-head duel between Tupaea, Chiefs, and Tavatavanawai, Highlanders. It was not merely a positional matchup, it was a collision course. "I've got both Quinn and Tavatavanawai on my fantasy team," Donald joked on the aftermatch with Kirst and Beeve. But beyond fantasy points, what stood out was the sheer brutality and commitment in contact. I wrote down a couple of times live there the collisions that were happening when Tavatavanawai or Quinn Tupaea were carrying, and often they went after each other, which is great. The phrase "hammer and tongs" perfectly captured the tone. Every carry was direct. Every defensive read was aggressive. Every breakdown contest had edge. For Donald, the sound of those collisions echoing through the grandstand was symbolic of a deeper truth. These players are not merely competing week to week. They're auditioning for black jerseys. Power through the hips. Donald singled out Tupaea's physical mechanics as particularly impressive. Quinn's got this ability, and Tavatavanawai, to be fair, he's got it too. He's never really hit. It's the leg drive. Rather than absorbing contact, both players generate momentum through powerful hip engagement and relentless lower body strength. The ability to ride out tackles, as Donald described it, transforms standard carries into line-bending surges. That kind of gain-line dominance is invaluable in Test rugby, where space is scarce and collisions are unforgiving. Tavatavanawai's influence extends beyond ball carrying. His work over the ball at the breakdown adds another layer to his appeal, offering a hybrid skill set that blends center play with loose forward attributes. A good problem to have. Donald framed the situation succinctly. It's a good problem to have for New Zealand rugby. Depth creates standards. Standards create performance. However, abundance also forces difficult decisions. You cannot field 6 centers simultaneously. Balance becomes everything. Pairing power with distribution, creativity with defensive reliability. Should the All Blacks favor a crash ball specialist alongside a playmaker? Or a dual playmaker axis to unlock space out wide? Does pace trump physicality? Does defensive organization outweigh attacking flair? These are questions the next All Blacks head coach must answer. Coaching uncertainty adds another layer. The midfield debate unfolds against the backdrop of leadership uncertainty. Following the dismissal of Scott Robertson, speculation continues about who will assume the All Blacks' top job. Names such as Jamie Joseph and Dave Rennie have been widely discussed as potential successors. Each candidate would likely bring a distinct tactical philosophy, and that philosophy will directly influence midfield selection. That a coach prioritizing structured territorial rugby might favor Barrett's kicking game and composure. A coach seeking high-tempo, collision-dominant attack might lean toward Tupaea or Tavatavanawai. A balanced strategist may seek a complementary pairing blending power and subtlety. Donald believes the selection debate will be fascinating. Hurricanes yet to show their hand. Donald also pointed out that some key contenders are only just beginning their Super Rugby campaigns. The Hurricanes boast both Barrett and Proctor, two established All Blacks whose form could rapidly shift the conversation. And we haven't even got to another couple of All Blacks of the Hurricanes yet and how they went. Donald noted that, in other words, the competition for midfield supremacy is only warming up. Continuity and momentum. One player who appears to be building early momentum is Tupaea. Quinn's certainly just picking up where he left off last year with the All Blacks. Donald observed, continuity matters. Coaches value players who carry club form seamlessly into the test arena. If Tupaea sustains his current trajectory, he may force selectors' hands. Yet consistency over a full Super Rugby season remains the true benchmark. 2 rounds provide indicators, not verdicts. Tactical evolution and the modern midfielder. Modern rugby demands versatility. The traditional inside center as a pure crash ball runner has evolved into a multi-dimensional role requiring distribution, kicking awareness, defensive organization, and breakdown contribution. New Zealand's depth reflects that evolution. Many of the current contenders possess hybrid skill sets, blurring positional lines. Fainga'anuku's shift from wing to midfield epitomizes that flexibility. His size and finishing ability offer unique options, particularly in high-pressure matches where territorial dominance must convert into points. The modern All Blacks midfield may not resemble previous eras defined by fixed archetypes. Instead, adaptability could define the next phase. Selection headache ahead, as Donald emphasized. Unfortunately, you can't get them all on the field at once. The next All Blacks coach must navigate domestic form versus overseas experience, physical dominance versus playmaking nuance, short-term performance versus long-term World Cup planning. Every decision carries ripple effects across combinations, leadership structures, and tactical identity. A defining subplot of 2026 Super Rugby Pacific has barely begun. Yet the midfield battle already shapes the narrative of New Zealand's 2026 rugby year. Each collision, each line break, each defensive stand is more than a club moment. It is a trial for national selection. For Stephen Donald, that intensity is exactly what elite rugby demands. Competition fuels excellence. Excellence sustains legacy. And as the season unfolds, the collisions will only grow louder by the time the All Blacks assemble for their next international campaign. The midfield conversation may dominate headlines. For now, fans can relish the spectacle, knowing that every thunderous tackle and leg-driven carry carries implications far beyond Super Rugby standings. In New Zealand rugby, depth is strength, but selection? That's where the real battle begins.